FIFA Live here, and today we've got a very, very special guest. He is the head of player care at West Ham United, Hugo Scheckter. Hugo, thanks for joining us.
How you doing, guys? Nice to be here.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I didn't mind the break so much. It was nice to have a couple weeks down, but now it's time to ramp up. I'm in the training ground sort of three or four times a week. Just trying to keep things ticking over and waiting for the Premier League decisions. So, yeah, no, it's been good. It's been good as it can be, obviously, in quite sad circumstances. So.
Yeah, crazy. What have been the potential outcomes that may arise for this Premier League?
I mean, I don't think we really know. I mean, I think it requires 14 of the 20 clubs to agree on whatever happens. And I think, obviously, there's a lot of different opinions of where you are in the league and what you've got to gain to lose. So, I think there's obviously still a possibility the season doesn't start. But hopefully we can get, underway as quickly as possible in a manner that's safe for the staff and the players.
Of the seasons where there would be a global pandemic, it would be the one where Liverpool were about to win the Premier League. It's like, oh my God, out of all the times. I feel so bad if I was a Liverpool fan, you know?
Yeah, well, it sucks for them, I guess.
Yeah. So what does your day-to-day look like then?
Yeah. So obviously it depends if we're in a pandemic or not, but normally get to the training ground at about 7:15. I have a team meeting with my team at 7:45. We go through all the players, everything that's sort of outstanding, and then the players arrive about 9:30. Have breakfast, check in with us, get their taping done, see the doctor, whatever they need to do, get a massage, and then they go out training 10:30 for about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit longer. And they might have a team meeting as well. And then they come in, have lunch. And then they do like commercial appearances and other stuff. But it's quite a short, intense day for them. It's not long most days, that's for sure, unless we're doing like double sessions in preseason.
Interesting.
A double session in preseason in the Prem.
Yeah, I mean, with Manuel Pellegrini, we would do triple sessions during preseason. So,
oh, here we go.
That's ruthless.
Is this me? No.
This is you.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Billion people watching.
Aim for that corner. Get the power up. You got this.
I have no idea how to do this. Okay.
I don't have to do it in real life.
Oh. Let's go back a little bit here. Explain a little bit about your background. I guess you can come up until the point where you go to college, because that's when you kind of venture out. But also you had did you intern somewhere before college?
So I was coaching at my high school while I go into high school in England, and I got my coaching badges, and then I was like 17. I coached the like freshman class, I guess it was, which was a really cool experience. And then I coached like the equivalent of like JV team for when I'm in my senior year. So it was kind of weird because it was like guys I'm in class with, and I'm kind of coaching them. So that was weird. And then came to GW. I was with the cricket team, the club cricket team. My first year, went to nationals.
Yeah.
And then got snapped up by the club soccer team, and did that for 3 years, which was really cool.
I did see on the LinkedIn it said president and head coach. I don't know how I feel about that. That's some.
I tell you what, it was well organized. It's funny. I'm friends with a lot of the guys, almost all the guys on the team, but I was a dictator back then, and their standards were high, and like even the standards that I set the club team are still probably higher than some of the standards we have in the Premier League. Like if it was 1 o'clock leave and it was 1:01, you'd be left behind, and we'd travel with 8 people, and we'd play 11 aside with 8 people just to make points. And we don't do that even with the West Ham. Like we'll sit and they might get into a fine or something, but we're not going to leave a player behind. So it's kind of funny, but yeah, no, we had a good time. We went from outside the top 1,000 to 24th ranked nationally, so that's pretty proud of that.
It's unbelievable.
It was good. Yeah, we kept wanting to play the varsity team, but Jonesy wouldn't let us do it. I think he was scared he was going to get beaten. So
I was gonna say.
Depends on which year.
Yeah, what year was that?
Yeah.
I think it was before your time. That was I left in 2013, so it would have been like 2012.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what exactly. I got in 2013.
I was right.
You might have had a chance.
Exactly.
My freshman or sophomore year, we were bad, man.
Yeah, well, I think
5 wins, 6 wins.
I think that's why we thought we could probably take you guys. But we had some guys who also thought they were incredible, and they were really bad. So
I was gonna get a few of those.
yeah. I mean, I think you know, when we get to tryouts and stuff, you'd have a guy show up in like a full Messi kit, and you're like, all right, bud. And then, you know, just like, and the thing is, when you do that as a player, you get targeted in tryouts because everyone's like, all right, let's do Messi, you know. And,
Who's got the best banter?
I think everything in the club goes through Mark Noble, really. Like, he's Mr. West Ham, he's the captain, and I certainly enjoy the sort of verbal sparring that we have together.
You guys go out.
I remember Fabianski, come on, mate.
What's going on, Fabi? Hey!
Oh, how did we not concede there?
I think that was an illegal play from 3 parties there. I don't know what just happened.
Wow.
Yeah,
That was something.
something else there.
I remember my first couple of weeks, I was trying to get a feel because I'm obviously new to the team, and you're trying to sort of get the trust of the guys, and you're trying to get them to, you know, they're trying to figure you out, you're trying to figure them out, and I thought, oh, Mark Noble's got, you know, got a bit of banter, I can kind of go at him a little bit, and I remember I said a joke, and it was way too far, and I literally didn't know the guy, and it was like, and I was like, oh shit, and he like, I think he just kind of like walked away, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna get fired. Like, I'm gonna have to go like back to Southampton or something. And anyway, so I was like, do I apologize? I was like, no, if I apologize, it makes it seem worse. So I just kind of left it, and then he was like, oh, I can't believe you said that to me the other day. Fucking. But it actually worked out well because it was like I wasn't sort of scared of him. Well, not scared of him, but like, I wasn't intimidated to do it.
It's good to have someone who's got great banter on the team.
I mean, he's been there so long. I mean, 16 years. No, was it 16 years now? Something like that. I mean, it's just
16.
Yeah, I mean, he signed when he was like 9 years old. So like, it's crazy.
What did you grow up as a kid? What did you grow up with your team you idolized?
Everton. Everton was my team. I was a big Tim Howard fan. Big fan. I've got his signed match jersey in my hallway. It was funny. I did a day's work experience before I started at Southampton at Everton, and I was like literally go there for a day and just kind of meet the guys and see what they do. And they were like, "Oh, we're going to cover a play appearance today," and it's like, I was like, "Oh, okay, who's it with?" And he's like, "Tim Howard," and I was like, "Oh my god, you got to be, like, he's like literally my hero." And that's probably like one of the last times I kind of had like this like fangirl moment where I was just like, that's Tim Howard, like the Secretary of Defense and all that, you know, like it's just like having seen him at the World Cup be so good.
It's funny because for us, it's interesting to see that you see these world-class superstar footballers all from around the world, and you're used to it. But for us, it would be this incredible like dream, and yet when you see a Tim Howard who's in this country, that would still, for you, that's your idol. So it's almost like a distance thing too. The lack of being able, the less chance of seeing them makes them even that much more special. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't grow up with many of these players. Like, you know, like I'm now 29 years old, so like I'm like an average age of the squad. So when I was like 17, 18, 19, 20, like through college maybe, that was the time when I was really loving soccer. So then the guys that I kind of idolized, most of them are either retiring or left the Premier League now. So like, you know, like I got Sergio Aguero's match jersey from when we played them earlier in the season. And I'm like, I was sat at GW in 2012 with my buddies, and we had 2 TVs, one for the Man City QPR game and one for the Man United Sunderland game for the final day of the season. And watching Aguero score that like 96th minute winner to win the title. I mean, I still remember just like screaming. And then to see him in person and get his game jersey, like that for me is probably one of the few like fan moments that I still have.
For you, going now forward, what would you see yourself as like the end goal?
I mean, I'm very happy at West Ham right now. I've done a lot of work to rebuild this department since I've come in, and I think we're getting really good accolades and doing a really good job. I mean, eventually I would like to take more of a sort of leadership role across the whole club. So, move from just running my department to running maybe more of it. But, I'm still young. It's a long way away. So we'll see. But, right now, very happy. But I think in time would like to end up sort of running a team and running a club and trying to make it the best it can be. Because I think I've picked, having started from the bottom, I kind of see a lot of things that maybe people who come in at a high level don't get to see. These guys are just killing us right now. They're just playing with us now.
Not nice, but honestly, it's the first game, so honestly, they're usually not that good though at D4. I don't know. Somebody must have just popped up. It's probably because they saw FIFA Live. The Journey was online, and so these people were just like, "All right, let's get online real quick." What's your favorite part of the job?
I forget it sometimes. There's like a lot of negatives. No, I like how it's different every day. Like, I mean, if you thought 6 months ago that I would be trying to help lead the club through a pandemic, I mean, like, you'd never have thought that. But it's every day there's something different, and I like that. It's not very repetitive. I like that my job's very people focused, so it's more about trying to get the best out of people, whether it's from a personal point of view, a club point of view. I really enjoy trying to use my people skills to try and get the best out of people. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool. You're in an industry where what you do can affect millions, if not billions, of people around the world. I remember my first season, we beat Man United at Old Trafford 1-0, and I was like, there is a billion angry Man United fans around the world right now because we beat you. But the idea just to build a team out of the ground like we did at Indy was such a cool experience and something you just can't get in the UK. Go on. Yes!
Let's go. It's the big time. Let's go, West Ham.
Here we go.
Our first goal.
Go into the camera.
Dream come true.
Who scored?
Sebastian Haller.
There.
You know him.
Yeah.
Great player. What's a funny story that you have? You don't have to tell us exactly who, but a funny story you had from a player.
I had this was a couple of years ago. It was a player came to me and said, I need a Christmas tree for my house. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, no problem. And he was like, I want it to be pink and champagne colored. So I was like, okay, like weird, but sure. So it took me ages, but I tracked down this like fluorescent pink Christmas tree. And then had like champagne colored, so like kind of like goldy colored, like decorations on it. And I got it all set up, and I was like, I think we've got like a designer's come set it up, and it was like, it was kind of expensive, but nothing like crazy. Anyway, I was like, oh, like, what do you think? Thinking like I'd nailed this. And he was like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, why is the tree pink? And I'm like, because you wanted a pink and champagne colored Christmas tree. And he's like, no, I wanted the decorations to be pink and champagne colored, not the actual tree. And so he had this like 6 foot high, bright pink Christmas tree. And I just like, well, you've got it now. So happy Christmas. You got to be more specific next time. And I've got a picture of it somewhere. And it's just the most ugly fucking thing you've ever seen.
Did he keep it?
He kept it for Christmas, yeah, because it was like 4 days before Christmas, and he was just like, I'm not going to buy another one. But
we got a question in the chat.
Okay.
They just want to know more about your job, the things that you do.
Yeah, so I deal with anything that's not football. Go on, Mark Noble.
Yeah, you're having a day, son. Oh! Get in there.
I would have retired if that had gone on. So I deal with everything that's not football or medical, basically. So when a player signs for us, it will be all the relocation bits. So house, car, bank account, visas, schools for kids, languages, kind of all of that stuff. And then on a day-to-day, kind of oversee a lot of the general operations of the team. So like the team travel away. Hotels. We also oversee all the like commercial activity, player appearances. Anytime that someone in the club needs a player for anything, then they'll come through us. All the signed items, so like jerseys, balls, whatever we need to get signed for charity or for other sponsors, we get that done. Yeah, I mean, fan mail comes through my department, so all the fan mail gets processed by player care. Oh,
Problem.
but yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's a lot of kind of general stuff, and then yeah, we obviously have a medical department. We have like a video analysis department. Kind of look at how the team's playing, kit and equipment, ground staff, security, all those kind of different things. So yeah, kind of get involved in quite a lot, really. Yeah.
It's a lot to do for 3 people.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but I think actually, like we hired really well. Well, I hired really well. I'm not going to say they hired really well because that was all me. No, we have a really good team, and we have really good complementary skills. So like we're very different people, but we work really well as a team. And we definitely wouldn't be as good without any of them. They're all like an important part of the puzzle. So it makes my job so much easier when I have great people behind me. So yeah, definitely we do a good job. Go on.
Look at the ball there.
That floating pass.
At clubs like we'll say City, United, whatever it is, how many people do they have in these types of departments in the caretaker department?
So I think Man United have like 13. I mean, it's insane. What they do all day, I have no idea. Like, it's for me, that's incredibly bloated. I think you could do like if I was to say like an ideal number, I would say between sort of 4 and 5.
Yeah.
But I think you don't want to lose the personal touch. You don't want to lose the sort of individual, like knowing what they're doing. And you don't want it to be like a call center where you call up and you like have to give your number and then they look up your file. That's not nice. But you want it to be as efficient as possible as well. So it's trying to get that balance for sure.
You were talking about hotel booking. Have you ever booked something really bad by accident?
Not in the Premier League. When I was at Indy, I kind of didn't really have a lot of time to research stuff, and the budget was super low, as you can imagine, because it was a minor league team. And we went to Atlanta, and I booked us in a hotel in the middle of a swingers convention. So it was like, to be honest, like I think they came under like the National American like Swingers. It was like, no, obviously not. It wasn't NASA, but it was like something like that. Where it was like, it was something like it was an acronym that I would have never known. But they never told me when I booked it that it was like another group in house. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. And we got there, and it was like, what the hell is going on? There's like just like shirtless people in the lobby, and then like stands and like, you know, free love and this and that. I think some of the players actually went down and got some brochures. Yeah.
So you were at Southampton before. I gotta ask, how was it working with Virgil van Dijk and Sadio Mane? Like,
yeah, I mean, we made quite a good five-a-side team, you know. You know, like it's. I mean, again, like they were just players, the same as any other player. You know, like at the time they were good, but they weren't like world class. But it was nice, I think, especially with Virgil, to see a guy who came from Celtic and now is the best defender in the world, and see how he's become. You know, gone from that. You know, he was quite, you know, excited to join Southampton, quite nervous, I think, and now, you know, look at him just like handling everybody without even, you know, blinking. And you know, I'm proud to have been even like a tiny part of 1% of his, you know, his journey. And but I'm proud of, you know, pretty much all the players that I've worked with. You know, and it's just nice to see, you know, whether it was James Ward-Prowse playing for England or whatever, and it's just like really nice to see these guys kind of hit their dreams, and really progress as people, and also, you know, not just as players, but, you know, as human beings as well, where, you know, you see them getting married and having kids, and it's just like, yeah, you know, I remember when he first started dating her, or, you know, I remember whatever, you know, it's you kind of feel like a personal connection to some of these things, and it's nice. And, you know, we had some great memories at Southampton, especially in the first couple of years. So we got into Europe twice, 5th in the league, 6th in the league. So 6th and 7th in the league. We were 3 points off Champions League one year. So, you know, I've won at Stamford Bridge multiple times, won at Old Trafford multiple times, won at Anfield to get to a cup final. I mean, it's just like, I've been at Wembley on the bench for a cup final. It's some really cool experiences.
Someone from the chat had asked, any common misconceptions about footballers / clubs that you realized were untrue since you started work?
Great question.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone has a preconception of what players are like, from their public image. And I think even I was guilty when I joined West Ham of having some sort of, this is what this guy's going to be like. And I think the one that really surprised me positively was Andy Carroll. One of the nicest, most humble guys you could ever meet. Really interesting person, like not even just, I'd speak to him. We wouldn't even talk about football. We'd just talk about life or different things. And a really, really interesting and probably misunderstood guy. And he has, he gets a lot of stick and a lot of abuse, and it's really not deserved. I mean, no player ever wants to get injured. No player tries to get injured. It's just, that's just life. And they'd all rather be out there playing than they would on the sort of treatment table. So I think it was really nice to see. Boom. To get to know him over a year and see what a quality guy he is. So, yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of people who actually, they have bad reputations and you're like, yeah, fair enough, they deserve it. And then there are a lot who are like, oh, actually kind of surprise you a little bit. I could probably think of maybe like 4 or 5 who I think were like, really big presences in the locker room. So you're thinking like Graziano Pella, Marko Arnautovic, Mark Noble, I don't even know who else you'd really put in that bracket, but guys that you're just like, this when they talk, people listen, kind of thing. And I think that's pretty rare in teams.
Yeah. Speaking of communication, the language barrier must be such a challenge for the players. I guess from start to finish, like when they get there, is there anything they're doing to improve on their language skills, or whether it be English, whatever it is?
Yeah, so all the players at West Ham learn English. It's like we make sure we organise it for their houses. So we've had a couple of players in the last couple of years who arrive speaking no English and leave. Well, and now currently can do full interviews in English within sort of 6 months. So we have very good language teachers available. English is a pretty common language, and I think if you're going to be a top player, most players assume they're going to play in either England or an English-speaking country at some point. So a lot of them have learnt basic English, but I'm lucky to have Barney as part of our team who's trilingual. So he speaks fluent Spanish and Italian, so he can help if we have issues. But like we have like a WhatsApp group which I use to communicate with the guys, and I just make sure the English is very simple. We don't put paragraphs and paragraphs of stuff. It's like 1 or 2 sentences at a time, simple English. And if it's a really important message, we'll translate it into other languages. So, but most of the stuff that they're pretty much okay to do.
Do you see some of the guys that are from completely different places getting along best with each other? Like some of them that maybe didn't even speak English well, but there's just a click. They just get along.
Great question.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like looking at like Maya Yoshida, who is one of my favorites. He wrote in his book that he came to England literally speaking no English, and I think even now he would say he doesn't really speak English, but no, he's amazing, and he was just like one of the English guys in the change room, like he was just seen as that, like, bubbly, nice, friendly, guy that everyone wanted to be around. And I think football often gets criticized for being quite a sort of intolerant place, whether it's racism in some countries or homophobia or whatever, but actually where else in the world do you get a Senegalese guy hanging out with a Japanese guy, hanging out with a Scottish guy? It's almost like a kind of like a bad joke where they're just like, what do you say if a Scottish guy, Japanese guy, and a Senegalese guy walk into a bar kind of thing? Oh, that sucks.
I mean, I don't even think that guy realized he scored. I hit his face.
So you had mentioned before about how there's certain players with certain statuses on the team, like Zabaleta, who's one of the best players. Do those types of players in the locker room, despite being a bit older, do they get that respect from the younger guys because they are who they are? And people say like how did you do it, or what did you do, or what should I like? Do they try to? Is there any types of those relationships that form?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you've got like the Zabaleta, we have a young lad who's just come through, Jeremy Ngakia, who's like 18, 19, who started against Liverpool twice and Man City in the league. And, there's a really nice bit of content that our club did with Pablo and Jeremy, watching back Jeremy's highlights. And so Pablo was talking back his performance against, I think it was Liverpool or Man City, and being like, man, you know, you made this run. I would have been 25 before I made that run, you know, like you were just killing it, you know. And there's definitely kind of like a mentor relationship, and certainly when the guys get much older.
Oh, I see you. I see you. Oh, okay.
Oh! Why are you running? Why are you making the run into the box?
I got nervous.
Come on, man. Come on.
I was just watching you, and I should have never run. Yeah, that's a good point.
Terrible teammates.
It's hard for me. It's absolutely dreadful. But
No call. We'll take it.
if I do it again, just tell me to fuck off, yeah?
Oh, I will. I will.
All right, that's fair.
Overall, your job, it seems like there's a lot of cool things that you do, but again, it is exhausting. It is really tough. So what keeps you motivated with it? How do you stick with it?
I guess I actually, you know, as full on as it is, you know, like I work Christmas Day, 42 weekends a year. You know, I've missed weddings. I've missed a lot of my buddies' weddings in the US because I just can't get the time off to games. But I'm doing something that I genuinely do enjoy. I never get up in the morning and don't want to go to work, which I think is very rare for people. And I'm doing something that's really like, you know, it's cool and it's interesting and it's variable. And, you know, I don't see it much as a job as much more of a lifestyle.
Thanks, man, for taking the time to come on here, and you know, hopefully we can do it again. Honestly,
I have multiple people saying that they wanted you on again because they have too many questions and they didn't feel like their questions got answered. So,
well, they can hit me up on Instagram or whatever they want, and I'm happy to try and answer any questions they got. But yeah, maybe in a couple of months, come back on, no problem.
Yeah, what is your social media, just so people can follow you?
At Hugo Scheckter on everything. So
Everything? Okay. Perfect.
Everything. Twitter, Instagram. Yeah.
We're gonna send that highlight video out to see if you get nominated for the Ballon d'Or. But besides that, man, thank you so much for coming on. All right.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys.